Hello and welcome to, oh my goodness, LADV Summit, Life After Domestic Violence Summit. And there is life after domestic violence. There's life before domestic violence. And tonight I have a woman who's going to help you understand the importance of why we must assist our youth, why we must be able to share ourselves, be true with what happened to us, why we absolutely have to share our stories so that young women and victims of abuse can get a hold of it so that they understand I'm not crazy or I'm thinking things and I did not know somebody else was going through it. And on tonight, my guest, she was here previously. I had a wonderful, wonderful interview with her on my podcast. And when I say fire, so this is what I'm going to ask you all to do. I ask you all to let somebody know who may have children, who have young girls. I need you to connect with the men because the men have been questioning, how do I help save my daughter from a potential abusive relationship? I'm asking you to connect with those men with daughters, with nieces. I need you to connect with those men, those young men with sisters. They need to show up. They need to be a part of this conversation. And above all, please be attentive to what this woman, this powerhouse is going to bring you. So I want to say hello. How are you? Harriet.
I'm really good.
She is all the way from Milan, Italy, y'all. I found somebody in Italy who is bringing it. So I'm not going to, without further ado, you tell them who you are, what you do, and sis, you have the floor. And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's always an honor to be here. It's my pleasure to be here. This evening, I am Ambassador Mrs. Harriet Ojego. I am the Women Choice Relationship Expert. I am the CEO and founder of the Raising Daughters Foundation. This is a foundation that's actually geared towards building women to become value creators because we actually believe that women are the strength, they are the pillars of the home. When you hold them back in progress, you also hold the world back in progress. So the RAD Foundation is actually dedicated in investing in their intellectual, their capacity, and their capacity building. So we are very, very keen about that because we know that the upbringing of a woman is indeed very paramount. We also organize a free skill acquisition for women to come to gain skills so that they could have that self-enablement. With the self-enablement, it also brings that their impeccable self-esteem automatically. We also have the widows, the orphans. You could check us on our social medias, the work that God has been using us to do in the life of women, creating values, making them to actually create values and not problem creators. So it's been very enormous. We also raise our voice against domestic violence to a very great extent. We condemn it. RAD Foundation is against it. So that is the RAD Foundation. I'm also an author, a writer, and a motivational speaker. One of my best-selling books titled The Night After Wedding. The Night After Wedding. From the name, it speaks volume on itself. It's so captivating. The book is actually trying to expose young girls, getting them prepared for marriage. Because I actually discovered that most young girls, they are clueless about what marriage is all about. So young girls actually think that the marriage, the wedding ceremony itself is the marriage. No, the wedding ceremony is not the marriage. The wedding ceremony is just an initiation for marriage. The real business of marriage starts when everybody bids you goodbye. When your parents say, okay, farewell. Your friends say farewell, bye, take care of your husband. That's when the real business of marriage starts. The wedding ceremony is just a child's play of marriage. It's just an initiation into marriage. So a marriage you know nothing about, if you get there, it will definitely confuse you. So you need to know what marriage is all about. That's why when preparation misses opportunity, the end result is success. You don't learn how to shoot a gun in the battlefront, you learn how to shoot a gun before the battle begins, or else you become a victim. Every succeeding and fulfilling marriage you are seeing today, they are all product of adequate preparation. So you need to know marriage is a journey you've never embarked on before. So you need a geography of your destination in order for you to arrive safely without asking questions. Imagine you having a GPS in your car. You don't need to pull over to begin to ask questions for your directions, because you automatically have the directions. So you need to prepare for this business called marriage. The wedding ceremony, no matter how elaborate the marriage is, it will not determine the success of a marriage. Because most girls are actually, oh, no, I want the best wedding gown. I want my shoes to come from this and all that. Preparation, beautiful pictures on Facebook, you see them and all that, and feel all this well, and that's what marriage is all about. No, there's more to this game called marriage. You have to be actually prepared, adequately prepared for this game called marriage. It is true that if you want to actually be successful in life, you have to actually plan. You want to go to school, you want to make a first class, a good grade, you have to burn your candles. You have to ignore all the pleasures of life and know what you want. You go and get what you want. So also in marriage, people don't actually put it at heart that marriage ought to be prepared for. We take it for granted. You know, it is wrong. Recently, there's a quote I actually wrote on my page. I said, there's nothing wrong. It's not a disadvantage for you to be a single. There's nothing actually wrong with you. But it's just a necessary phase of life that you must pass through to get to the next phase of your life, the next chapter of your life. But I tell all young girls that this is the most delicate aspect of your life, the most delicate stage of your life, because this stage can actually make and mar you. Any decisions you make today can have a great impact on what you get later. So you don't make a mistake. You must be guided to choose wisely. You must look before you leap. It's like somebody trying to test the depth of the waters and you put your two legs in the water almost immediately. No, you have to put one leg first and actually see. So you have to have that mindset. You have to prepare for it. People just wake up in the morning, their back, they feel no preparation for marriage, and you just get there, and at the end of the day, you ask yourself, what have I got into? You wake up one morning and look at the situation. This is not what I actually bargained for, because you were actually not prepared for it. So this book is actually exposing everything that a young girl needs to know before getting married. It's also exposing to our mothers the kind of moral codes and standard of values that they need to imbibe in their children. They need to teach their daughters to know respect for themselves and respect for others as well. These are all things you need to know, not as growing up as a woman. You come to a stage and you don't know most of the things you need to know. So I always advise women, the first thing you do is acquire knowledge. They said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. What you don't know, it will confuse you. What you don't know, you will suffer the consequences. It is very important you understand the rules, the laws, your responsibilities, the ability to raise children, the implications and the hard work, the commitment. Marriage is not a child play. Marriage is just like a bank account. It's what you deposit, you are allowed to withdraw. So it's very important for young girls to understand, because if you actually look at it, some of the problems, some of the cause of domestic violence today is actually tied to this. People are not prepared. The men actually don't know what marriage is all about. The woman too also has some shortcomings in her whole angle. She does not actually know her roles and responsibility and all that. So putting all these things together, you actually know that there's a problem that we need to also bring up our daughters. We need to also imbibe in them the standard of values, the moral codes, respect for themselves, packaging themselves very well for this whole thing called marriage. So it is very important. That's what the book is going to actually expose them for. And this is, to a great extent, also going to help in terms of domestic violence. Because if you actually know the solution, you actually know if you identify that you have a problem, then you're able to look for a solution to that problem. But if you don't have a problem, you don't need a solution for crying out loud. But domestic problem is a problem. We've identified it as a problem, and we must look for the cause of the problem. When you know the cause of the problem, you'll be able to look for a solution to the problem. So that is what my book is actually talking about. So let's talk of domestic violence proper. What is domestic violence themselves? What are some of the causes and the practical solutions to practical solutions to solving solving the problems of domestic violence. We can look at it at various angles. But before I start, I would like to tell you a little story about Jane. Jane was actually a very beautiful woman. She was beautiful in and out. She was not only beautiful, she was also very intelligent. So you can best describe Jane as a woman with beauty plus brain, because she actually graduated with the first class. And at the age of 25, she was already a manager in an organization. So you can see with all these beauties around Jane, Jane was actually very focused. She was not distracted. She was not proud like some other women will be with all these things that she had. She has actually designed her life. And she said at the age of 27, she was actually going to get married to her dream husband in a shiny armor where they could live together, happily together with her husband. And she also promised herself something. She promised herself something that she wouldn't want her children to grow up from a divorced home. So she's going to put everything together to ensure that she had one of the best marriages. So far, so good. And at the age of 27, everything actually happened for her according to how she has planned it. A very young, handsome pastor came around, sleepy pastor, actually talked her into marriage and every other thing. I tell women, if a man wants something, he can go to any length to get it, especially when he wants a woman. He can even sleep on the floor for you to actually step on him, on his head or whatever, as long as he wants something. But we do not take time. We allow some of our emotions control our actions, our emotions control our actions. We do not look before we live. We are carried away by our emotions. This young man actually came. So we stopped her and actually got married to her. The marriage was actually won in society. You need to see the guest. The guest list was who in the society. Our wedding gown was beautiful. The floral arrangement was out of this world. It was well organized. It was very, very elaborate and successful. And a year later, they were actually blessed with the son. And after 1 year, everything was actually going smoothly for them. There was understanding, there was respect, mutual respect for each other and all that. But along the line, something happened. Something happened. Jane actually discovered that her own husband was actually going out with somebody, cheating on her with somebody, a member of his own church. You can imagine. Jane was actually depressed like every woman would, because Jane thought of all the things she has done for this man. Because Jane is the woman that she actually looked at her husband. Her husband was not financially really valuable, because the pastor is just a growing church and all that. So what Jane does was to bring a salary at the end of the month, brings it to the table and give it to her husband. My husband, this is my salary. Since you are actually not doing too well, I want you to actually do the disbursement since you are the head of the house. Gives it to the husband tells her, okay, this is what you should use, this is your allowance and every other thing. How many women will be able to do such a thing? So Jane was actually, in fact, she was really, really depressed by all the situation around her. But what will baffle you is how Jane actually handled this issue. That is the bone of contention here. When Jane actually came out from her depression, she didn't want to talk about this whole issue with her husband. She shut up her emotions to her husband, the financial services, she withdrew it, and every other thing. She withdrew as she went back to her share, like a single woman in the house and every other thing. So Jane was not ready to talk or discuss it with anybody. She decided, because she also said to herself, she looked at herself, she has promised herself that she wouldn't want her children to suffer from a divorced family. She has also promised the world she doesn't want to be seen as, a woman who divorced her husband and so many other things. She has so many reasons. So she had to conceal all the pains and every other thing and shoulder the responsibility herself. She refused to say anything. They were living in a house. But Jane's husband was also not a foolish man. She knew, okay, the services and everything had been taken away from her. They were married, yet they look single. They're under the same roof, but yet they are lonely. Things are not happening the way it should be and all that. So it was well with them. It was not actually well with them. Things were not working out fine. So from that, the husband actually felt, okay, what's the point of being with a woman? The woman who has shut out her emotions and everything. There's no communication, there's no respect for each other anymore, from there. Because when domestic violence actually starts, there must be a reason, there must be a cause. Because when there's an action, there must be a reaction. So what actually led to the domestic violence? There must be an action to a reaction. It is as simple as that. So before you know it, it started with the verbal abuse, each other rendering abuses on each other and every other thing. From verbal abuse, Jane's husband actually physically abused her, gave her a slap, not even giving a slap, also disfigured her face. At the end of the day, Jane couldn't actually believe what was happening to her. It was like a dream. It was like a dream, and she felt, oh, I hope this is a dream, so that she will wake up and say, okay, this is actually a dream. But it was not a dream. It was not a dream. She has been physically abused by her husband. She couldn't believe it. Even when she went to the office and she was asked a lot of questions, Jane also tried to cover up for the husband because she also felt, okay, what of the social stigma? What will I tell people, the members of his church, that look, he's actually dating someone that's inside the church? You know, Jane conceived a lot of things in her heart, you know, and this thing went on. I tell people, once a man has physically abused you emotionally or verbally, he will keep doing it over and over again. Once there's a beginning, once it starts, it will continue. Don't think it will just end the first one. He comes and apologizes and every other thing. That is when a woman begins to take actions, begin to observe safety. Because I tell women, safety first. Whatever you want to do in life, safety first. The marriage you are trying to save, at the same time, you have to be alive to actually save that particular marriage. So safety, you should also think of safety. But Jane felt, okay, probably abuse is a normal thing, like people take it as normal. She didn't even also see herself that she was being abused. And this thing continued for a good 1 year. Jane was being abused. She swallowed everything. She did not tell anybody what was actually going on. But when it got too much, it happened on a very sad note. On one beautiful Monday morning, when people were actually planning to go to work, going to the various places of business and everything, a very ugly music sang, a very ugly music that nobody could actually dance to the rhythm of that, the song that was actually playing from the house of Jane. What has happened? A loud cry came out. Neighbors came in as in, what is happening? Why are you crying? And what did they see? Jane was in a pool of blood with a knife in her hands. When she could no longer hold herself, when she could no longer take the things or bear those things that she has been going through for the past 1 year, when that early morning, the husband rose up again and there was arguments and there was abuse, raining of abuse, verbal abuse on each other and every other thing, Jane went to the kitchen, picked up a knife and stabbed her husband right in the chest. The husband actually bled to death. Nobody ever planned for that. Jane never planned for that. Jane was a beautiful woman, in and out. But today, as I speak to you, she's still under the custody of police. She's now a murderer. Nobody wanted to know Jane's story, how it started, what she has been passing through in the house, because she concealed all the problems to herself, and she felt that's the best way she could also answer. She could solve the problems. But did she actually solve the problem? She swept a lot of things under the carpet. No, you don't sweep a lot of things under the carpet because they will stink, and your house will also stink at the end of the day. But now nobody's interested about what Jane passed through. They are calling her a murderer. And indeed, she's a murderer. But did she plan for this? All her hope, her inspirations, her dreams, everything she has worked for, everything have gone down the drain. Don't think domestic violence is far. Because it's not happening to you right now, then it cannot happen to you again. The only thing that's constant in life is change. People change, their attitude change. So you don't see domestic violence, there's one woman is being affected and you walk past. They say you pray for temptation not to come on your way. Jane was not planning for all these things that happened to her. But today, as I speak to you, she's a murderer. It could be Jane that would have been murdered, not Jane, not the husband. It could be the other way around. You just never can tell. But the question here is, what is the object lesson we have learned from this story? What can we draw? What were the causes? What led to domestic violence and eventually led to death at the end of the day? That is where we should also concentrate our attention on. One, Jane, fear of shame. That fear, she had the fear and the shame. What people would say if I divorced or something happened on all that, what will be of me and everything. That fear and shame was an issue to Jane. Jane also looked at the social stigma. If I come out and tell the world that my husband is actually dating a woman in his own church, how will it look like? How will people see it? It will affect the congregation, it will affect her and everybody around. So Jane decided to also keep quiet. There was also a communication breakdown. That's why I tell women, when an issue is hard to be addressed, that is the time that you address the issue immediately. You do not sleep over problems and think everything is going to be right. No, you solve issues as they come. You tolerate each other. You talk. Communication is a key. One of the key to any successful marriage is his communication. You must speak out. You don't conceal things inside your heart. And Jane also lost her emotion because of a lot of pressure. The things that she has concealed inside out, she could no longer hold it again, and it led to an uncontrolled emotion. And what I also want to bring into the story, it is disrespect. It is disrespect in every organization. In every organization, even in the football field, there is also a captain. In an organization, there are hierarchies: the general manager, the assistant manager, and every other thing. There must be a leader. In a ship, there must be a captain. There's no two ways about it. We need to know our roles and responsibility. But this is not to justify any man that will raise their hand to hit a woman. But you do not wait. You do not wait, or you do not stay anger. You do not put your hands in the mouth of a lion and expect your hand not to be chopped off. You also have to respect the leader of the house. We have hierarchy. The people we also look up to. The people we also need to give this mutual respect. It's a mutual thing, mutual respect. We know. So Jane was also stirring the anger. The atmosphere was not right. And you also raised your voice. It is also a problem. So we can also look at that direction, disrespect for each other. So you can see these are some of the causes of Jane's problem and the consequences and what actually led to domestic violence in the house of Jane. And the consequences was actually death. So you can see, nobody planned for this. It can happen to you, it can happen to some other person. So we need to actually be careful as women. You need to speak out. Don't concede anything, especially when the relationship is really, really in very dangerous situations. You know, you can feel it, you can smell it. You don't remain there. You have to look for a solution. You have to be alive to save that marriage you are trying to save. It is true, most of us women, we pretend a lot. We pretend a lot. We don't even come out to speak to our younger ones, to tell them, look, marriage is not a child's play. You have to be ready. You have to be careful, especially at the point of your decision making or saying, okay, this is the man I want to get married to. Don't be carried away by the flashy things you see and all that, because it is true. We as women, we get married for a lot of wrong reasons. A lot of wrong reasons. Oh, because the man is so handsome, I can't seem to get a better man than this particular man. We get married. Oh, because this man is so rich. Oh God, I want this financial. I don't want to be financially. I want to be financially stable. You get married because of financial reasons. Oh, because I want to have children. Oh, let me get married because I can't wait. Or because my biological clock is ticking. I need to have children on time. So you get married for so many wrong reasons. There's a problem in marriage starts when expectations are not met. So when these expectations are not met, what do you expect? You don't marry for wrong reason. You have to be extremely careful. Know what you are getting into for crying out loud. Study. Know the person you're getting married to. Because the decision you take today have a great impact on how you will be in the next 25 years. So at the point of decision taking, yes, I do. Don't be carried away. Don't allow your emotions control your actions for crying out loud. You must be able to know and determine a man that you're not married to. Because sometimes, I tell you, Dorothy, that sometimes we see these red flags, but we tend to ignore them and sweep it under the carpet and assume it to be well. A man that you're not married to is threatening you, telling you, oh, I don't want to see you with any other person. I can kill you or kill myself. I can't stand you. Talking, it isolates you. Even when you were going out with him, you're not married yet. He threatens to hit you for the first time. and he comes and apologizes and start crying and every other thing, and you went ahead and got married to him. I mean, there's some of the things we saw, religious differences and every other thing, characters, and sometimes, because most times, it is possible that what we get married to is personality, but the person that we need to stay with is character. What is a character? A character is who we are when no one is watching. But personality is the general opinion of what people know about you, your promises, your brand to the world. So people pretend a lot. Well, I tell you, 80% of the men we marry today, we actually saw one or two traces in them. Some of the red flags, we're actually there. But because we have so many selfish reasons and all that, we went ahead and we got married. So it's this is the point I am actually hitting on domestic violence. We need to speak to our young ones. As mother, we have a lot of roles and responsibility to play in trying to bring up our daughters. We must imbibe in them the moral codes and standard of values. The responsibility of a woman, we must let them know. We must let them know. I tell women, the day you go to the labor room and you were announced, the sex of your child was announced as a female, that is when you begin to go on your knees. Because it is possible that you observe so many things, you were careful and every other thing, and you can still fall in the hands of wrong people. So sometimes you also need a divine intervention. So as a mother, you will continue to pray for your daughters. You begin to guide them, talk to them, don't keep quiet, tell them about relationship, tell them what you've also passed through, make them listen to people. Let them associate themselves with people, with older women that have passed through these things before. They will teach you, they will guide you so that you don't make that same mistake. And as women, we are not also helping ourselves. We pretend a lot. We tell the world that it's very good, everything is rosy and beautiful with us. Meanwhile, inside of us, we are dying. Why not explain? Why not come out and tell people that, look, in the point of decision making, you have to be extremely careful. Marriage is not a bed of roses. It's like bringing two different people, different norms and traditions, bringing two people from different backgrounds and bringing them together. It's not going to be easy. We need to learn how to tolerate ourselves. The ability to forgive and be forgiven. There are a lot of things we need to put in place. We need to speak out as women. Say who we are. Stop pretending that everything is fine when inside of you, you are dying. We are deceiving our younger ones, our generational growth. We are not preserving it because we want them to make the same mistake that we've actually made. No, we must come out of it. So domestic violence comes in different ways. So most women are not even aware that they've been abused. So we need to talk about domestic violence. What is domestic violence itself? How do you know when you are being abused or when you're not being abused? Because in the case of Jane, I don't think she was actually aware that she was being abused. Because if she was actually aware, she would have looked for a solution, discuss with one or two people, and as counselor, people that would guide her and advise her. And it's possible that the marriage would have been still on today. It's possible she would have committed murder. She would have been a murderer today. So you need to speak up. You need to know, because people perish for lack of knowledge. A lot of people are ignorant. So we have a lot of different types of domestic violence. Like we have the physical, the emotional and verbal abuse, the financial abuse, sex abuse or rape. So these are various types of domestic violence. What is the physical abuse? The physical abuse when someone decides to use the physical force on you. And it's really baffling that women are the ones that are really severely affected when it comes to domestic violence. That's why we're actually talking of hitting it very hard. At the point of decision taking, a woman should be extremely careful because we are the ones that are actually suffering it. Physical violence is when somebody begins to use force on you. It could slap you. You could be burnt at the end of the day. These whole things have a long and short-term effects on a woman. It could be using a weapon, like a knife, or even a gun, pulling off your hair. That's the physical abuse. You don't remember, it's very risky and it's very dangerous. This could lead to depression. It can lead to fertility problem, hypertensive, and different form of it. Different long-term effects affecting a woman. Sleepless nights, suicide attempts, withdrawal syndrome, because she looks so isolated, she keeps to herself. So many ugly situations. So what of emotional abuse? Emotional abuse, most women feel, oh, because they are not physically abused, it's not an abuse. Emotional abuse is also like physical abuse. Because emotional abuse is when a man begins to give you unnecessary monitoring, want to know at any given time where you are. You're outside with your friends, you cannot stay for 1 minute. As you come back home, where are you? You are not comfortable. He comes to the house and begin to threaten you. Then you say, oh, because you have done this before, I'm going to expose you to the world, a lot of threats and every other thing. He wants to know your password for all your social media accounts. He keeps calling you some names, whore, fat souls, and so many other things. That's verbal abuse comes in. And most of the time from emotional and verbal abuse, it also leads to physical abuse. So you need to know when you're being abused and take actions immediately. That's why I tell women, once you discover that you're physically abused, there are some measures you need to take first. Safety first. First of all, you need to get a phone. You have to have an extra phone that your partner is not even aware about. Then you have to have a code, a code, a language, a word that you can use when you're being physically abused, when you know you're in danger. You could use that code to call almost immediately and look, once you speak to the person, maybe to your friend or your neighbor or people around, they know that you're already in danger. They could call the police or something like 911 or something. You must have a code. You must observe safety. Safety first. Be prepared. Get the things you need to get. Don't wait for you to be beaten up. No, don't stay up anger. You already know you've been physically abused before. It can be on over and over again. So you don't start exchanging words with your husband at the same time. You will be beaten. Who gets the feeling? Who gets the pain? It is you, for crying out loud. So you don't wait. We also have financial abuse. And it comes in various forms. When a man begins to tell you, oh, we need to build a house, it comes gradually. You wouldn't even know that you're financially abused. Whoa, we need to build a house. Oh, we need to put, I've just opened an account, and the account is only a signatory. He is a signatory to your account alone. And he tells you, look, please, your salary and everything, we need to put it. I will have to give you your allowance. You know, we need to have a house and everything. It's a fine, that's a good idea. Every woman will buy with key to it, building a house, their personal house. That's how it starts, sometimes gradually. Before you know it, even stop you from working. Now you will not become financially dependent on him. And he knows you cannot go anywhere because now most women stay very long in such relationship, because they know they are not financially buoyant. If they go out, how will they take care of themselves and their kids? So they will stay put in that marriage and stay and will be abused. What of rape, sexual abuse, when people use physical force on you and all that. So we have so many types of violence. So you need to know when you are actually abused and when you are in danger. You don't stay in a marriage, you don't stay in a relationship when you know you're actually in danger and your life is being threatened. No, safety first. You must be alive to protect that marriage that you are trying to save. So these are the things you need to know when it comes to domestic violence. So what are the causes of domestic violence? I've just explained some of them. And so all the reasons of domestic violence, it could also be cultural belief, the cultural system, the norms and tradition. People now see domestic violence that, oh, it doesn't even matter, it's just a conflict that went out of control. There are so many reasons, and men also believe that, okay, because they are masculine and they cannot also express their emotions, because men were taught from a very onset, even as a child, that a man do not cry and a man do not express their feelings. But no, we begin to raise our sons to tell them, look, they are humans. They are free to express their feelings at any given time. When you have 2 children, a boy and a girl, as they're growing up in the house, when the girl comes in and is crying, you pamper the girl and say, it's okay. Well, when your son comes in and he's crying, you tell your son, no, you don't need to cry. Men don't cry. Go and fight your battles. Yes, they grow up also concealing a lot of things in their heart. And the next thing what they do when they cannot hold it, they become men and they're married, they descend on their wife. We need to bring up children. We need to leave this belief system that men cannot express their emotions at any given time. And there's also some barbaric culture that allows women to be beaten. It's part of the culture, it's part of the belief that women can be physically abused. We need to look at that aspect. Recently, there's a village called Hama in Ethiopia that was told about. In order for you to become a man or be initiated into a manhood, you need to live over 15 cars. Then during the ceremony, the women relations of the man, they will come out with a dance initially. And after the dance, they will give themselves to be beaten. Can you imagine that? How can you reconcile that, Dorothy? They give themselves to be beaten as part of the tradition. And during the ceremony, when you're being beaten, you do not cry, you do not scream, and you do not leave the ceremony. This shows how strong you are as a woman, Women are very happy to even flaunt the scars. To them, the scars is a beauty to them. So you can imagine such a terrible situation. How do you reconcile that? So the belief system is also a problem. We also need to look at the belief system. The cultural belief, what people, with the cultural belief and the system. So it's very necessary. Child marriage is also a problem. A child who knows nothing about marriage, who is thinking of education and everything, you expose her into marriage, a marriage she doesn't know anything about, it will confuse her when she gets there. So these are some of the causes of domestic violence as well. We need to look at all those aspects, So what are the solutions to domestic problems? What are the good solutions to domestic problems? We must look for a solution. One, like I said, a woman must always look before a lens, especially in terms of decision making and trying to say yes to a partner, trying to get married. You must be very careful. You must ask for a divine intervention because sometimes you cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone because people change a lot. What is constant in life, it changes. So you have to look at that aspect. Then the cultural belief that men, they're not supposed to express their emotions and all that. No, men are humans. Let's begin to raise sons and begin to tell them they have right to express their emotions at any given time. Let's begin to raise daughters, make them, imbibe in them the moral codes and standard of values. Let them know their roles and responsibility, their commitment in marriage. Marriage, every successful marriage is hard work and commitment. It's not a child's play. You need to know your own part of the bargain. That's why I tell women, you do not give a taste of your husband's soup to him. No, because my husband has offended me. Okay, I'm also going to do something to hurt him as well. No, two wrongs cannot make a right. So you need to know. We need to learn to tolerate each other to a very great extent. These are going to help us a lot if we bring all these things together. We need to know our roles as women, our responsibility. That the men also has to know, because you're head of the house, does not give you the right to also maltreat everybody under you. It does not give you the right to raise your hand and hit a woman. If they tell you what a woman passed through in trying to make the home comfortable for you and your children, she carries the child for 9 months. And 9 months is not 9 days. If they tell you the pain that a woman goes through in the labor ward, a woman is pregnant, yet she's in the marketplace trying to make ends meet. A woman makes a kitchen that's empty to overflow with food. A woman, you cannot even underestimate the power of women. So what it means? Do you know what it means? A world without a woman, it will be such a boring place. So we have to know our roles and responsibilities. We have to know how. So these are all the things. These are very important when you talk of domestic violence. And it should be a legal law, a legal status, backed with implementations. We need to create an awareness program. But when you create an awareness program and the legal law actually backing them in terms of some of their barbaric culture, it's not going to have an effect. So we have to have some legal status, some legal status backed with implementation. Then we as women, we need to also help ourselves. But women, because there is an article I wrote recently, Preserving the Generational Growth of Women. And what was it talking about? Because I discover women, we also have a problem. We don't like ourselves. I don't know the spirit of hatred and competition that is between us. We don't love ourselves. When you set a goal for yourself, nobody's going to help you to pursue that goal. It's only you. So we need to begin to uplift each other. Help yourself. When you see a woman that's being violated, do not say, oh, who is she? Why did she do that? She's a sport. Why? We need to begin to uplift ourselves as women. Love ourselves. Equip our women. Teach them skills. Empower them. That's why I say NGOs. I say funders. If you're a woman and you can hear the sound of my voice right now, you're a manager, you're in a position of decision making, begin to employ women. Begin to empower them. We need to speak life into our generation of women. We need to preserve the growth of our women's generational growth. We must love ourselves, empower ourselves, equip ourselves. Does it not baffle you that in spite of all the NGOs, the women activists, and every other thing, our voice is still scarcely heard? Because something is missing. There's no love among us. There's this spirit of competition, or healthy competition. When you go to an interview panel, when a woman is there to interview a fellow woman, you need to see some of the questions she asks the woman, because she doesn't want the woman to be employed in that company. No, we must stop that. We must come together as one. We need to fight our battles ourselves first, love ourselves, equip ourselves. You don't see a woman that is domestically violated and you just walk past. No, the change starts with you today, and the change starts with me today. We must start to do something. Love ourselves, equip our women, teach them, train them, educate them. We must preserve our women generational growth. Thank you so very much.
Self together right now. Yeah. Told you she was coming with fire. I don't know whether or not you felt it. I know that I'm sitting here. I have to get myself together. I've got tissues and I am. Ooh. Um, this young woman is in Milan, Italy. I said that once before. Give me a minute. She is in Milan, Italy. For those who know me, I say constantly that domestic violence is a plague that plagues the world. This woman is more than 8+ hours away from the United States. And she so poignantly shared with you what she experiences there. She shared with you a story about Jane. And I don't know how many of us here in the States have read, have seen, or maybe have witnessed the same story that she explained about Jane. Harriet, I need you to understand, when you began your story, you talked about Jane having to give up her money. All of mine went to him. I had nothing, all of it. I worked 1 year, 40+ hours in a nursing home as a nursing student while he stayed home with the children. I worked sometimes doing doubles straight throughout the week. And I brought home a tax return check of over $6,000 that was returned. I'll never forget because it was on my birthday. And I so super excited that day. I signed because it was joint. I signed the check and handed it over. So I'm thinking in my mind, oh, birthday present, going out, having a good time, celebrating me. So I thought. When he came back home, there were boxes. I mean, there were huge boxes that just kept flowing into the house. And I was like, wow, so excited, so excited. Harriet, I was thrilled. But decided to hand me a card. Here, I don't know if they're there in the, over there in Milan, Italy, but we have what's called dollar stores. Everything in the store is $1. And so when you go to that store, you can buy cards for $1. So that meant if you bought one card, it's 50 cents. So I got a 50-cent birthday card. And he said, I'm sorry, this is what's left because I had to buy. He was a singer. He bought keyboards, speakers, microphones, everything he needed for the career that he was trying, that never jumped off, the career he was trying to start. So from a $6,000 tax return that I worked my butt off in a nursing home, breaking my back, literally herniated discs, literally wiping behinds and picking up all kinds of things. You know, the things that you do in a nursing home, taking care of those who have dementia. I went through all of that struggle and I sang 80 hours a week, $6,000. I got a 50-cent birthday card. I understood that story, and you are so super right. So I'm asking for those of you who are watching this, that you go and talk to that sister. Go and explain to them that there is a woman by the name of Harriet who is in
Ojegba.
Thank you. Ojegba.
Ojegba.
I'm going to master that last name. I'm afraid to butcher it. I don't want to butcher it. That she is so poignantly telling you the truth about domestic violence. See, when we go into these relationships, just as you said, we go into these relationships and we have high hopes and we push those red flags to the side and we I'm not worried about that, and that's fine, and oh, that's just how he is, and we still continue to go on thinking that it's okay. But yet when time after time after time it begins to build up, and then the physical abuse usually happens somewhere in between. The verbal, then the emotional, and the procession. But as you said, women who live in these relationships don't acknowledge that it's a domestic violent one. They don't. They refuse. There's so many women who don't realize when I describe what domestic violence is, oh no, that's my relationship, but it is. I need people who are here watching. I need you to go get that person that relationship is not right. I need young girls to hear that, as Harriet said, that a wedding is not the marriage. The beautiful dress, the beautiful gown is not the marriage. It is not. The presents that you get and all of the fanfare that looks so wonderful and it's so marvelous, when everybody goes home, she is going to need it.
Yeah.
There are women right now who are first ladies of churches, spoke about that on Thursday, who are first ladies in church, and that they absolutely are meeting it because their husband, who also happens to be their pastor, they're meeting it. This is so super real. This is not fanfare. This is not being funny. This is not about Harriet, and this is not about myself. This information is being brought to you and so super important for us, because this is teamwork. Because while she's in Italy and I'm in the United States, and while somebody else is in Africa, and while somebody else is in Japan, this thing is a plague that plagues the world. And I need you to understand, it is just as she said, and I say it all day long, it is our duty, our responsibility and obligation in order to save a life. Do something. Absolutely do something.
Yeah.
If it's not but stuffing envelopes for a domestic violence shelter so that information can get out to these women. If it's nothing more than when a petition signs comes around and it's there's a domestic violence question about what to do and you believe that it's right, sign it. Call your lawmakers. If you don't know what to do, reach out to Harriet. Harriet will answer you.
Yeah.
Reach out to me, I'll answer you. But the point of the matter is this: we have got to get on board, people, because this thing is so deep. It is a worldwide plague. It is a disease. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. As a matter of fact, the numbers are changing. What I so love about Harriet is this. She's gone to the root, y'all. She's attacking it from the root. What do I mean? She's on purpose and strategically with planning, teaching young girls at the root about self-worth, about what to look for. She's teaching about protection. She's telling them exactly what marriage is not. She's coming straight for the root. So the young ones, when they get older and look for Mr. Right, they will know Mr. Wrong when he shows up.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, it's the truth.
She is passionate about what she does. I have not personally met this woman, but I know, I feel her passion. She is nothing but fire to make sure that young souls in our world are being saved. You all know who connect with me. You all know I can get crying in a hot minute, but I'm so passionate about bringing information, bringing people that you can connect with. I need you to understand that you are not alone in this. You're not alone in this. And so therefore, I beseech you, Harriet, beseech you to get outside of your feelings, take your feet out of your shoes, and I need you to say, yes, I need to do something. How can I help? Where can I go? Who can I call? Do something. This is not just Harriet's problem or my problem or any advocate, the ones that are coming on shortly. It is just not our jobs to solve this. It's not. Please don't think that. This problem belongs to all of us. If you have a daughter, if you have a son, male children need true male role models. Harriet, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women believe this. Well, daddy's not in the picture, so therefore I want the Father's Day card. I want the acknowledgement. I'm both mother and father. I tell women to stop that nonsense. You are not a man. You can never, ever teach a male child how to act like a male. Only a male can do that. So it is important that we take our sons, yes, as mothers, teach them how women should be treated. But a man who believes in the Most High, a man who is walking the way he needs to walk, you need to make sure that your young male child is being shepherded by a man who knows and understands the roles of a woman and honors her. A man needs to teach a male child that. A woman such as Harriet has decided, I need to teach young girls how to act like a woman, what is expected. And if you didn't know, I'm telling you now, already I know this. I know this. Her plan, where she gets this information, how does she teach? She teaches from scripture.
Yes.
She's based on scripture. Why? Because that is, and people can get upset with me, but I say it all the time. Her playbook is scripture. How is that even coming into play? I understand that if you want to teach somebody about love, you got to go to the book.
Yes.
Sorry, that's the Philadelphia thing. We talk with our hands. We always clapping. You want to know about love? You got to go to the one who created love. It's not the love or way of what Mr. John thinks love is and how he acts, because, slapping his wife might be love. It is not the way of how, Auntie so-and-so or Auntie Susan thinks love is just making sure that the house is clean and she's running around like a slave and she has no input. She's given over $6,000 worth of income tax. Oh, that's how I love. No. Let's get this thing straight. I'm looking over here because I'm talking to all people over here as camera as well. Harriet, I want you in 5 minutes, and 5 minutes will never be enough. I want you in 5 minutes to talk to two different people. I need you, if you will, have a conversation, you and a victim of abuse who happens to be a young teenage girl dating, not even married. I want you to talk to her and tell her, have that conversation. And when you're finished in 2 or 3 minutes with that conversation, I want you to talk to those who are in the audience who believe that it's not their problem, that I'm in a good relationship, or, I don't know anything about it, so therefore this is not my problem. So speak to that victim, that young girl. Speak to her in 2 minutes. And when you're finished, can you talk to someone who may be viewing, thinking that domestic violence is not my problem?
Okay. To the young girls, I always advise them, before a domestic violence occur, there's always an action. There must be an action to reaction. What is the cause of the domestic problem? You must have to know. If it is your problem, you have to do a self-work. Look at yourself. Like the scriptures will always say, examine your ways. Examine your ways. What are the things you do? What are the things that's actually causing this problem? Is it your problem or that of the man? Does the man actually wake up in the morning and the first thing he does is to start hitting you and start beating you and every other thing as a young woman? Is that normal? Is it a drunkard, or is an addict? Is a drug addict? You have to look at yourself as a young girl. What is the thing that's actually causing this abuse? Am I actually getting it right? Do I know my roles and responsibility? Do I also show respect to my partner? Because this whole thing has hierarchy. There's a leader. In any organization, there's a leader. There's an head in any organization. There's a general manager, there's an assistant manager, and every other thing. And when there's a shortcoming in anybody's role, that company will not function well. There will be a chaos. There's no two ways about it. So if you, as a woman, as a young girl, you're not also playing your own part of the bargain, then you also have an issue. You also have to look at yourself. It's a two wrongs cannot make a right. Is it that your husband, actually, we know they do a lot of brainless things to us sometimes, but if you also think, because he has offended me, I'll also give a taste of his own soup to him, then you're also getting it wrong. Because when you also cry for help, you go to the creator or divine creator, you decide to fight the battle yourself. So he doesn't also answer you. Two wrongs cannot make it right. Examine your way. If you're doing the things that you're ought to do, you show respect. You give respect to the leader of the house. Everything is well, then something must be wrong. Something must be wrong. I always tell women, check yourself first. Examine your way. Because there are causes to domestic problem. They don't just start. They build with time, gradually. It could be one particular thing you've been doing over and over again, and your partner doesn't like it. And you keep doing it, and it builds gradually to a stage, and it leads to domestic violence. So if you don't actually know the cause and you don't take actions to stop those things, it will continue. But as a young girl, you have to look at yourself. If everything is okay, then you know you are playing your own part of the bargain. Then you seek for solutions. You seek for help immediately, and something will be done.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so super excited and moved. If you have not been moved, I'm not understanding. I am so thankful for your yes, because I know your yes cost you something, Harriet. I thank you for your tenacity, your consistency. I thank you for the development of the organization that you so lovingly, built so that you can show true love, agape love, that love that passes beyond all understanding. I thank you for that. And what I would love for you to do at this moment, two things. If you can share how we can, get a copy of your books. So super interested in what it is that you've written. And then if you can share how we can stay connected. This is what I'm asking the viewing audience. You need to connect with Harriet. You need to ask and request for a friend request. And I need you to stay connected, communicate. I need you to let her know that, I saw you on the Summit and I was moved. I thank you. Just say what's on your heart, but connect with her. Blow up her inbox. Let her know that however you can help, do it. Because Harriet will tell you she cannot do this alone. She can't. I tell you all the time, I cannot do this alone. And so right after this, we're going to take a quick rearranging of some chairs virtually, if you will. And we are going to continue this discussion. And we're going to present you with advocates who work diligently, hands-on, in the line of domestic violence. So let us know how we can get a hold of your book. Can you please, tell us how we can stay connected with you? And then right after, we're going to move some chairs around and we're going to begin the panel discussion. So again, I tell you all, if you've got children, you might just want to put them in a room with a game, because we're getting ready to get in it. We are. So tell us how we can get a hold of you, please.
Yeah, so I'm actually in all the platforms, social media platform. I'm linking Harriet Jegba. Then my Facebook, Raising Daughters Foundation. Then my Instagram, Raising Daughters Foundation as well. Then they can also connect with me personally by using the name Harriet Jire.
Okay. I thank you so super much. Again, I thank you for your yes. We're getting ready to switch over. So we'll be right back. Okay. Go get your favorite beverage, in your comfy chair, because this is going to be quite interesting.
Okay, thank you so much.
In 1 second.
Okay, then. Thank you.